Going back to the fundamentals on this one, let's go and check out the upcoming Piper Warrior 2. Hey guys, Clumsy here. Welcome back to Microsoft Flight Simulator. Huge thanks to Just Flight for letting me have a pre-release copy of this Warrior 2 so I can test it on my own and show it to you guys. We'll check out the differences, what it offers, and I'm sure a lot of you are asking. That's probably going to be the #1 question. If you have the Arrow, Turbo Arrow, what would this Warrior 2 add to that mix? Well, as you can see, something looks fairly different if you look at the bottom at the landing gear. Yeah, has some wheel fairing goodness in there. It's just quite interesting. Throw on track IR here, because as you might notice, let me hide the yoke for now. There is actually no landing gear lever here because this plane has a fixed landing gear, so that doesn't go up, and that's why there is an option to add some wheel fairings in there. So without it, it looks like so. Just like any other Arrow, right? But when you add the wheel fairings, this is my favorite feature in this plane. Really adds a personality. Makes it look so, I don't know, so homey, so fundamental, back to the basics, back to the core. So we'll see how that works, and that actually has a performance impact. So as with any other Just Flight Piper product, there are manuals included. And in the manuals are performance charts. And in the charts, it's actually saying that the wheel fairings have an impact, like a 7-knot impact on the climb, on the cruise performance. So very nice. The other things are all very similar to the usual Arrow repertoire. So you can change your GPS. You can go old school, track VORs and NDBs if you want. You can have dual GPSs, 530 and 430. If you have the 750, the GTN 750 mode, that's also innately supported. Yeah, so it detects automatically if you have it, and then it allows that option. But for me personally, I really like this, especially flying the DC-6 recently, going old school. I like that. And here we go back to the basics, the fundamentals. There's also a built-in checklist, so you make sure that you're not missing anything. Yeah, and we can go through that, check it out, and see if it's good enough that we don't miss any crucial steps. You know what? Let's go through it quickly. Parking brake, set avionics master. There's actually a switch right there for avionics, right behind the yoke. Pretty sneaky little guy. You actually can't see him from here. Nice. So parking brake, avionics is off. Mixture is lean. Magnetos are off. That's the guy here. Battery switch. Let's turn that on. Very familiar sounding. Fuel quantities are checked. More than half for both sides. Annunciator panel is lit up. And with that, we can turn off the batteries. Flight controls, we can check if it's free and correct. So let's do that. And that's perfect that we're checking this because I actually have my mic blocking the yoke a while ago there. But now it's good. Alright. And at the back, stabilizer. Up. Looking good. And the rudder. Very nice. I love those wheel fairings. Adds so much to the plane. I don't know. I can't explain it. I really just like it. Flaps are up. But if we want to deploy them, we want to check that they are working. 3 levels of flaps. Can you see it from here? Maybe move aside a bit. There it is. Quite nice. And as always, with the other products, we have such nice sounds with each button, with each knob. Quite ASMR-ish vibes there. Cool. Let's remove the chocks and the tie downs here. I think that will be checked a while ago as well. but we'll fix that later. Good. Okay, get back to checklist. So flaps are good. Elevator trim is right here, and it's in neutral. Baggage door is on this side. That's closed. You can actually open that. If you go through here, that even has a sound now. Interesting. Okay, and you can go for baggage door, and that will open the door right there. Quite cool. Also an option to open the actual cabin door. Close them. I like all the sound effects. Good. And yes, I have my window open right now so we can hear the amazing sounds of the engine as we start it up. Looking good right there. Alright. Looks good. Lights. Well, this is an exterior walk around. We'll skip some of those tie downs and chocks. That's what we removed a while ago. Right? Yes, we removed all those already. Tow bar is removed as well. Good and good. Alright. Circuit breakers, those are actually simulated. So if something is popped out, if for example the nav lights, anti-collision lights circuit breaker is popped out, that means the anti-collision lights will not work. So I have to check that everything is in right there. Cool. Carb heat is cold. Fuel selector is the fullest tank, but in our case, that has an even Steven right there anyway. So let's go with just with the left tank. So fine. Good. So we have two options here with the engine start. Let's go with the cold engine. This is going to be the first one. So open the throttle half an inch. You might notice that looks completely different from the arrow, right? There's no propeller lever at all because this plane has a fixed pitch propeller. So much more simplistic. Not the most optimal when it comes to airflow, when it comes to performance, but it is very user-friendly. Perfect for beginners if you want to go back to the basics like I do. I'll tell you why later. Why? Okay, battery switch alternator is on. Nav lights, that's this guy. Can also increase that a bit so we get some backlighting. Yeah. And then let's go with aux boost pump to on. Let me turn this off. And oh, I love those sounds. And as we put in some mixture, see the fuel pressure climbing, priming the engine. Even the sound changes depending on the level of the mixture. I like that. They have a huge attention to sounds. Right. Clear prop? Not really because of this guy. Okay, now clear prop. Let's go and start this out. Anti-collision lights on. There we go. That's the sound I want. Awesome. Start. Successful. Both adjust to 1200 RPM. Oil pressure is checked. We have oil pressure in the green. Oil temperature is climbing up ever so slowly. That will warm up as the engine warms up as well. Looks good. Landing lights as required. We don't need that right now. Pretty visible right here. Early morning in Singapore. Avionics can now go on though. So that sneaky button over here. Look. There you go. See the amperes increasing immediately. There you go. All of them are in the on position. Let's go and track the NDB over here in Seletar. Whiskey Sierra Sierra Lima. That's the 220 NDB. So yes, going old school today. And as we track that, that needle should change. So if I switch to ADF here, look, there we go. There we go. So now that is pointing towards the Seletar NDB. Sierra Echo Lima. Right, perfect. Good. So avionics is on. No, don't do it, bro. radios, transponder, yes, just stick to 7,000 here. Heading indicator will be departing from runway 21 today, so we'll change that here. Over on this side, actually let's move to the left and map this to a hotkey so it's easier. There you go. 21. Taxi area is clear, parking brake can be released, and then we test the brakes and check our flight instruments if they are all working. Alright, release the parking brake, off we go. Runway 21 is over there on that side, so let's start taxiing. I've been trying the physics, the ground physics on this plane as well. It works very well. The turning, the taxiing is all good, but I noticed one quite weird thing when I tried to do differential braking. Let me see if I can do that. So if I slow down here and then I apply more braking on one side, oh, that's okay. Okay, because if it's abrupt, it kind of like skids out on me, and maybe that's a realistic thing, that it shouldn't happen, or that it should happen that way when you actually are too fast and you try to turn too fast. Kind of spins out on you. Let me see if I can do that, Fast and Furious style. That one. So I was applying left toe brake only and suddenly it spins out, kind of loses traction on the ground. Okay, anyway, alright, so let's go through the checklist. Brakes, yeah, brakes are working, we checked that, looking good. Ground check, oh, we have some run-up procedures here as well. You know what, let's do this, let's go end to end, because that's the cool thing about having this checklist. You can really simulate it as close as possible to the real thing. So let's go and face the wind here. I'm just going to go through here. Yeah, and ooh, it's a Bell 47. Nice, just hanging out. Slow down and let's turn around. Winds are somewhere around this point. That's perfect. Alright, parking brake. Let's go through the checklist. So yes, parking brake is set, mixture is rich, throttle set to 2000 RPM. And hear the goodness of these engine sound, guys. Oh, that's so good. Zoom in there. 2000 RPM, we have it. Magnetos, so we're checking the magnetos from both. We're switching to the left one, and we should only get 150 RPM decrease. That's the one. You can see the RPM gauge lowering down. Pause here, there you go. Go back to both. Now let's check the right side. There should be a similar drop. Same, that's nice. And when we switch from left to right, from left here to right, there should be a minimal drop in RPM, if any. No drop at all, that's great. Cool. Vacuum gauge is over on this side. Is that the one? Actually, I think so, but I still have to read that in the manual. It says green sector. I'm not sure if that's the one. Anyway, if you guys have info, let me know. Let's skip that for now. Oil pressure in the green. Oil temperature, you can see it's warmed up already. A while ago it was in the 75 range, right? Now it's closer to 180. Pretty nice. Ammeter is checked. Yes, we have some load in there. Annunciators are tested. There you go. All lights working. Carb heat is in. Full up. Aux boost pump is off. Fuel pressure is good in the green. And then now we check for engine idle. So we go for idle, RPM, and we'll have a look. Should be around 600 to 650 RPM. Yeah, looks good. Oh, I love those sounds. Amazing, amazing. Alright, now 1200 RPM again. Seems to really like that. Okay. Before takeoff, well, yes, battery should hopefully be on, right? Because if it's not, we'd be in trouble. Strobes, we can turn that on now. And look at this, guys. I love this lighting. Maybe was this implemented in the other the Piper Arrow updates? But yeah, the lighting on the panel is much better now. Much more realistic looking. I love that. Okay. We're good there. Landing lights are on. Aux boost pump is on as well. Fuel selector, fullest tank on the left one. Let's go choose that. Engine gauges look good. Mixture is rich. Primer is locked. The primer you can actually unlock and lock through here, although to be honest I'm not familiar. I tried using it a while ago but didn't work. I'll have to read up on that. If you have more info, let me know, okay? And you don't need flaps here, so flaps are fully up. Trims are in the middle. Cabin door is closed and latched, but the windows, let's go ahead and close that up, right? So, right. Looking good. Release the parking brake. Let's go and taxi to the runway here. Rotation is minimum 55 knots. 78 knots is the ideal climb. I think that's the VX, if I remember correctly. Up above 300 feet, we don't really need that here. Airspeed's best rate of climb is 89. There, that's the 189. Ah, okay. So 78 initially and then 89 afterwards. Good to know. Alright, off we go. Line up on the runway here. Going to altitude reporting on the transponder. Runway 21. Yes, looking good. Let's hold here. Check our engine. Go to takeoff power. Altimeters are also set. Full throttle. Love those sounds. Takeoff power is set. Releasing the brakes. Maintaining center line here. Around 55 knots, we can start pitching up ever so slowly, ever so gradually. Like so. Start pulling back on the throttle. Getting very fidgety. There you go. Beautiful. Initial climb is 78 knots. Looking good right there. Let's have a look. 78 and then best rate of climb is 89 knots. Okay. Trim up, trim up. Let me tour you around Singapore, guys. Let's go to the CBD, Central Business District. I've been going through here, flying over here since yesterday, and I cannot have enough on this plane. Although the sounds might be a bit too loud, huh? Let's lower that a tad so you can hear me better. That one might work. Yeah, I think that's perfect. That's the perfect volume right there. Alright. Let's continue. Looks good. Climb. Accelerate to 87 knots indicated. Can turn off the boost pump. 1,000 feet. Landing lights as well. Looking good. P2 heat, no need. It's pretty warm in Singapore. It's currently 22, 23 degrees. 1,000 feet up here. That's actually pretty cold already for Singapore standards. Elevator trim and will be leading above 3,000 feet. Okay, that's fine. Yes, let's climb to 2,000 feet and we should be happy with that. As you can see, the performance of the plane, not the best, right? It certainly can fly, but you won't expect like 1,000 foot per minute climb rates here. Usually more around 500. Let's pitch down a bit here. Let me trim it out. And the main reason why I really like this plane, going back to the basics like this, is well, we've been really involved with complex planes recently, right? We've been really enjoying all the buttons, all the switches, And sometimes it's just great to go back to the absolute basics. Enjoy just the flying itself. Less knobs, less levers, but not sacrificing realism in the process, you know. We're not making it arcadey. It's still a simulation. It's just really lessening the complexity and focusing on the sightseeing without impacting the realism. Right, almost at 2,000 feet. Going to lower the throttle here to 75%. You can hear it, the RPMs lowering as well because we don't have a propeller. So the RPMs automatically change depending on the throttle. Lovely. Right, and we'll trim here as necessary. Need to trim down a little. There you go. And yes, so changing from a completely complex plane like the DC-6, switching back to the Warrior 2 like this, end-to-end complexity and basic features. Not in terms of the simulation of the plane, but the plane itself, right? But they are both such amazingly simulated here. And this is why I love it. And yes, the other reason is, guys might have seen it, I recently finally got myself a Honeycomb Alpha. My goodness, it's night and day difference versus my old yoke. My old yoke felt like a toy. This guy seems like the real deal. When I'm pitching, when I'm moving the yoke, I can really feel the resistance. It's a huge motivation to just trim properly so you don't keep fighting the yoke. And it's a very good training, starting from the basics again with this and just feeling the plane as much as possible, reduce the complexity and enjoy. I love it. Alright, anyway, alright, there's the iconic Marina Bay Sands in the distance. You guys might see that already. There it is. This scenery is from Cloudsurf Asia simulations, as well as the Changi airport right there, but I'll tour you around this place first, and then let's see what time we have, if I can still do some other touring. But yeah, overall it's the perfect plane for sightseeing because you're really going slow here. You know what, let's go and trim let's go and lean the mixture here for best power. For best power, it says, so I downloaded a Lycoming manual, and it says for best power we actually want to lean the mixture so that the EGT is at its peak, but 100 degrees Fahrenheit rich of peak. So I'm pulling the mixture, you can see the EGT rising in there. There's the peak, right? I'm going to go rich of that. That's 25, 50, 75, 100. So 100 degrees rich of peak is the best power setting. And given that, we should have some nice speeds here, relatively. So our indicated airspeed is around, what is that, 80, 90, 97 knots indicated. Our true airspeed is, let's say we're at 2,000 feet and outside it's 20 degrees. Let's round it off. This one I'm not able to match yet, but we'll see if this time it works. So if we have the 2 here, that's the 2,000 feet. We'll match it with 20 degrees, which is right here on this knob. So let's match the 2 with the 20 over, I guess that way would be close enough. So we should be at 110 true airspeed here. Let me know if I'm doing this wrong, okay? This is what I understand should work, but if we compare that, if I use the GPS 100 here, we should be able to see our true airspeed here. Nav. True airspeed is only 102. You can also see the winds here, 180 at 12 knots. But yeah, so if I try and match that, it says true airspeed is 101. It should be around that point actually, something like this. Which doesn't make sense to me. The 2000 is right at the negative 10 degrees temperatures. That doesn't seem right. I'm not sure. Am I doing something wrong, guys, for those who are familiar with that? Alright, here we are. Perfect timing. Just a perfect distraction so that we can travel some more. But yes, you can do so many things. You can even compare with charts the performance if you're into that, or you can just fly. You can just fly and forget about most of these things. Either way, it will work for you. There's even a carb heat. Oh, look at that beautiful city. 2,000 feet up. Seeing the beauty of this urban jungle. Oh my goodness. Yeah. I think for short trips, if you're going sightseeing, this is going to be perfect because it really travels slow and it's very relaxing. You don't have to maintain. You can go hands-free once you've trimmed it. So I can almost go hands-free once you've trimmed it and just go there. There's also an autopilot feature. I'll try that out in a bit. But for now, let's appreciate the view a bit more. There's Marina Bay Sands. The new structure here, I think I call it the Apple Dome. This is literally the Apple company. They have a dome in here now somewhere. I can't remember exactly where it is. Like, I think it's somewhere over here where my mouse is. It's like literally like a sphere, and like it's a huge Apple store. That has to be still put in here, not yet updated, but close enough. My goodness, this feels so familiar. So also the stadium here, where they have concerts, and they have the indoor stadium right next to it. Cool stuff. And the lighting is just perfect. This is live time, guys. Live weather, live time. As I'm recording this right now. There's also a plane right there, you can see. That must be live traffic. Pretty cool. And there are a couple of airports in here. In Singapore, very small country, but lots of airports. I think there are, I don't know, 5 at least in the vicinity. So everywhere is no-fly zone for drones. If you have a drone, it's not a friendly place to fly it in Singapore because with all the airports in the vicinity, not really the best place to fly drones. You always encounter those no-fly zones. Anyway, alright, so let's go and check out the autopilot. So we'll switch it this way. If I go and zoom in, change the heading, let's face that to where we are. There you go. So now what I can do is I can actually go to pre-arm, pre-select the heading mode, and I can turn on the autopilot. You can see it's a bit different versus the arrow, right? I actually like this better. Much more understandable for me. Much more familiar looking. So if I do that and I turn on the autopilot right here, then it will track that heading. Yeah, very nice. And there is a sneaky, same with the arrow, there's an altitude hold secret button right here, which you can use. So in case you want to always be level, you can select that, but I am not going to do it. So I really want to be managing that on my own. But yeah, this is a plane I would say that's perfect for hand flying. So the autopilot I would use very sparingly, only when you maybe have to go out for a bit or something. But yeah, I would rather hand fly this all the way. Such an amazing experience hand flying it, getting that feel of the plane from end to end. Alright, let's do a touch and go here, why not? Probably not the best winds right now. Let's go and see if we can tune in some ILSs. ILS for this is, I think... let's see if I have it correct. 110.9. Let's see if that changes. There it is. That's the ILS. I think we're a bit too high. And the course should be 023. Okay, let's set that here. 023, that's 01, that's 02, 123, that's 023. Okay, good. Touch and go, that's where we're targeting. 02 left runway. We're pretty high. Yes, you can see that as well on the PAPI lights right there. And yes, we are stuttering a lot because the planes are loading in. It's not the fault of the plane, it's just a Microsoft Flight Simulator limitation at the moment. I'm sure you guys have experienced that quite a number of times. Now, one more cool thing about this plane, you can deploy flaps almost every time, because you'll always be in that safe flap extension range. You will hardly go out of it because of how slow it is. So very friendly for beginners, especially. As I said, going back to the basics, the fundamentals. Very nice. Yeah, this is not going to go very well at all. We have 180 12 knots, so we have huge tailwind. But it's just do a touch and go, and it's a very wide airport, so why not? Alright. Go full mixture here. Looking good. So that thunder. Let's go full flaps here because we are pretty high. We'll have to lose all that altitude. There we go, full flaps. You know what? We can actually go idle here. Do a little bit of forward slip so we can increase the rate of descent without totally increasing the airspeed. But yeah, that looks good already actually. That looks good already. Nice. Pitch up. If you go through the checklist here, actually see descent, carb heat. We don't need carb heat right now. You only enable the carb heat when there are indications for it. So when the RPM changes, fluctuates and whatnot. Otherwise, you won't need that. Landing lights on. Mixture is rich. Parking brake flaps and set. Okay, yes. Trim for 63 knots, it says, for landing. Okay, that's perfect. Let's go and trim for that. Might need to push in a bit more for fuel. Yes, a bit too low here. There it is. Let's enjoy that a bit. Catch up to the glide slope. You can see that as well going on in here. Yeah, you can see how high we are, how low we are. Very consistent with the PAPI lights. All good, all good. Not the most stable approach, but we're just enjoying here. No problem at all. There we are. Trimming a bit, trimming. 63 knots. Still a bit fast. We do have a huge tailwind, so it's going to be a very weird experience, but let's see. Touch and go, touch and go. There we go. Go to idle. Player, just let it sit on its own. There it is. Beautiful. Good. Okay, flaps up. Going, takeoff power again. And this time, that's beautiful. Good. Almost didn't even feel the tailwind because of how long this runway is. Let's go and explore Jewel Changi right here. Right there. Oh my, it's been a while since I've been here. And yeah, once the things have loaded in, no more stutters. Performance is silky smooth again. Yes, isn't it the best for sightseeing, guys? So relaxing. So amazing. Good. This airport is also made by Cloudsurf Asia Simulations. All of these guys are in the mods list. So one thing that I haven't mentioned yet is how much it will be, and I haven't mentioned it because I don't know how much. Okay, I don't have that info. So we'll see. The release date for the Warrior 2 is going to be maybe around 2 weeks from now, maybe 1 to 2 weeks. The release date is not yet final, and the price is still not public. But the good thing is, if you own the Arrow or the Turbo Arrow in Microsoft Flight Simulator, you'll get a discount. And if you own the Warrior 2 in P3D or FSX, you will also get a discount. So you won't need to pay full price if you have any other derivative of the Piper family, so to speak, from Just Flight. So quite nice, quite nice. Yeah, you get all these different simulations, so it doesn't feel arcadey at all. Yeah. Anyway, cool stuff. Hope you guys are enjoying this flight. Let's go and check out the outside for a change. Oh, look at those wheel fairings. That is my absolute favorite view. See the city from this side right there. Oh, yes. It's actually thumbnail material. Beautiful. Yeah, those fairings are the signature look from this Warrior. Can we remove that airborne and see if there's any change in the airspeed? Let's see, okay? Okay, let me level off here. Let's do a bit of an experiment. Level off. Sorry guys, I know the video might be running a bit long, but I'm enjoying this too much. Okay. So we're at how much today? Around 90, almost 90 knots indicated. If we remove the wheel fairings, there you go. Yeah, look at that. Look at that shift. We lost like, I don't know how many, 3, 4 knots immediately. Yeah, no more fairings. Let's see if that holds. Right, if I add that back, that's not really increasing. Maybe it's just because I'm pitching up, but maybe over time that's a very slow, gradual climb or loss of speed, depending on if you have wheel fairings on or not. But what I can say is, it looks amazingly cool. Awesome, love it. So yes, can't wait for this to hit the market. I'll be sure to purchase this myself as well. Hopefully the discount will be significant, so it won't hurt the wallet so much. Yes, I really love this series. The Piper 3, the Arrow 3, Turbo Arrow 3 and 4, and now the Warrior 2. To be honest, initially I wasn't excited so much because my first impression is maybe similar to you guys. Like, what's new? I mean, it's the same plane, right? Just a bit different. But it really feels different, and it's amazing. It feels much more simple. So when you want to take your mind off all the complexities, you want to fiddle around with a propeller, just want a fixed pitch propeller in there, this is going to be perfect. No more forgetting to lower your landing gear, you know. And yes, the stall speeds for this guy are very low as well. I think if you have full flaps, if I remember correctly, in a full landing configuration, VSO is going to be 44 knots. Yeah, you can see that there. I think that one is the stall speed at maximum weight when fully configured for landing. And then when you don't have any flaps, flap 0, I think the stall speed is, oh, I can't remember which one it is. There should be an indication here as well, but anyway, it's all in the manual, and that's something I still browse through. There's even a bit of history in there, like the origin of the Warrior, how it started off as the Cherokee, which year, 1961, yeah, and then became the Cherokee Warrior in 1974. This Warrior 2 came out in 1976. You have the Lycoming 160 horsepower engine on it. So cool, so cool. Anyway, I'll leave you guys there. I'm not sure if you want to stick around until they arrive at the airport, but we'll leave it here. Hope you guys enjoyed that video. Let me know what you think, and if you're going to purchase it or not, let me know in the comments. Thanks for watching. Have a nice day. Clumsy flying, and oh my goodness, see you in the skies, guys. I'm loving this plane. I'm loving this yoke. Expect more videos for sure. Have a good one. Clumsy flying, and bye-bye.